How's it going, friends and family of the internet? Welcome to the Real AF TV podcast, the show about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm one of your hosts, Josh Laban. On the other side, I got
Tim Wagner.
Tim. This is exciting. We're trying new mic situations, so
Yep.
hopefully
Because
this doesn't.
we are in the same room for the first time since doing this whole thing because COVID's been crazy, but now we're saying fuck you, COVID.
We're doing everything we can to give this a go. Give this a fucking real go.
Give her a try.
You gotta. That's the only thing you can do right now.
Yep. Gotta.
On today's show, I don't know why I always do a goofy fucking voice like that.
Woo. Well, on today's show, we're going to be talking about all this fun stuff I did in college. I just don't know why I said that either. Full disclosure, we've been drinking a little bit.
All right, Tim, we got fall bass fishing. I picked bass because, that's kind of what we've been focused on. I've been watching the Bassmaster Elite Tour, so I got some things to talk about there. Topic 2, our random take. We're going to talk about cooking. Just fall cooking.
Oh, yeah.
How does the fall change the way you be cooking? We'll get into it.
Yep. All right, then.
All right, let's go into one. Topic 1, our fishing topic.
Yes, sir.
Fall bass fishing. Why did I pick fall? Well, duh, it's fucking fall.
It's fall. That's what we're doing.
The internet would have you believe that mostly the South is into this situation. I searched it up. We got West Virginia, Alabama, Arkansas, Kentucky. They seem to be the hot spots right now. Bassmaster is fishing in South Carolina. By the time the podcast release, it will be the weekend before the podcast releases. So the Bassmaster has been down there. The Bassmaster Elite has been in North Carolina. Oh, crap. They're in one of the Carolinas. I forgot. I watched a lot of it, but I totally forgot which Carolina.
They're all the same. They're in Carolina. One of the Carolinas.
Is that a Carolina accent?
This is a southern accent. I don't know for sure if it's It just felt right to say Carolina like that. I don't know for sure. I would have to say that this is a eastern Carolinian accent with the pirates. There's an east
With the pirates?
There's an East Carolina football team, and they're like pirates.
Oh.
And that just makes me laugh every time I see it, just because the colors are so awkward. They're like bright yellow and like purple and stuff, and just like
The Vikings are purple and yellow, I guess.
know, but like I guess like that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense for Vikings either. But just pirates, like everything you've ever seen is like black. Like look at Raiders, it's black and gray and
right.
You know, I don't know. Just
These are the happy go get 'em pirates.
the happy go get 'em pirates.
But yeah, no, seriously, looking around, because I do some research on this because I actually don't know anything about fishing for the most part. But you look around the internet and it would say like fall bass fishing is mostly in the South, and I'm just like, well, why would that be the case? We fall bass fish up here.
Yeah, well, I would say like it's just probably slower going up here. The water gets colder up here faster. It reaches temperatures to what they don't have down south ever. Our lakes freeze and theirs don't. But
right.
There's also a point called the fall turnover, and during the fall turnover, fishing sucks shit, and they probably just don't want to deal with that so much down there. And they might deal with it down there a little bit, but I don't think it's as prevalent as it is up here. And then what the fall turnover is there becomes a certain point, like during the year, like springtime, I've been drinking a little bit of beer here. we didn't have a podcast in the same room without beer, that would be crazy.
That's for weirdos.
And that just came up right then, and just auto-tuned myself there. But the fall turnover.
Yeah.
So like in the spring, the fish are up shallow because the water temperature starts to warm up in the water earlier, and that kind of draws them in. And then when it gets hot in the summer, the water's too hot, so they go deeper in the summer. And then the fall, they like to come up into the shallow water again, and they kind of chase the water temperature that they like. But during the fall turnover, the deep water, the shallow water, there's a smaller window of time where the water temperature is all the same temp. And it makes it a lot harder to try to figure out where the fish are, because they could literally be anywhere. There's exceptions to the rules always. Like when it's hot in summer, there's bass shallow and thick cover, and when it's cold in the spring, and you wouldn't expect fish to be up shallow, yet they could be up shallow. There's a lot of different exceptions to the rules, and depending on the species that you're looking at and stuff, it's
right.
all over the board. There's so much to get into. I mean, there's not
right.
There's not tons of different bass books and all this other stuff, because there's
one complete answer, just
right,
like one
there's just one
answer.
Yeah. No, there's so many different answers and so many different patterns, and that's why it's a sport, because there's a lot of ways to catch fish, and there's a lot of ways to not catch fish. You never know which one you're going to be on, and it's up to those anglers to try to figure out which way's working and which way's not. But when you're dealing with that fall turnover, it's a lot harder to figure things out, because
well, you said it earlier, and this is the part that stuck out to me, is you said it earlier, is that it's almost like the water becomes the same temperature throughout. So I'm gonna make up numbers because that's what I do, just as an example. But like 10 feet and 2 feet are now both 68 degrees.
right.
Like, so how do you find the fish in the lake when the fall turnover, as you're saying, is like when that happens? How the hell do you find the fish when the water is all the same temperature?
Right. Yeah. No, you don't really, and that's why it's so hard. Because when you're tournament fishing and stuff, and you can find where the fish are, like based off of the thermocline, and the thermocline is kind of the area where the water temperature is where they're most comfortable at. Like that's what they're looking for. So
fish are looking for the thermocline.
Yeah, like they're in the thermocline. Like they don't really look for it, they just feel it. Like I said it,
right.
I said it weird, but
no. I think I interpreted that weird. You're on point. Keep going. Sorry.
So no, that's all right. But like they're like I said, the summer they're deeper because that's where the comfortable water is. And then the springtime and the fall, a lot of times they're shallower because that's where the comfortable water is. And again, like there's exceptions to the rules. Like the thick cover, it can be like 10 degrees colder in dense weeds than the surrounding water outside of it, just because of like the shade cover and all that other stuff. So there's always exceptions to the rules. And I mean, a lot of times, like that's why. Like we were kind of talking about it tonight, where people were talking about like it's frog time, and it's like because
exactly.
You might have a hard time trying to figure out where the fish are, but there's a pretty good chance that there's still some in the weeds, So there's always fish in the weeds, or like when you're talking about bass.
Sure.
And when you get later into fall, all the weeds die.
Oh.
So then you don't have any weeds.
Right.
So if there's weeds there, there's not really fish in the weeds. But
so then you put a frog on and you hop it across the weeds and hope for the best.
Yep.
You said we were talking about frogs earlier, and that's what I keep hearing is like fall time is frog time. But today, when we were talking about this earlier, you said it's crankbait time.
Jerkbait.
Thank you. See, that's proof. He's the fisherman.
Well, I mean, they have their time and their place, and and you could use them. That's just like another thing where like the anglers out there trying different stuff. Like me and you could both go out. You throw a frog, I throw a jerkbait. We put the same amount of fish in the boat. You know, like
yeah,
and
sure.
jerkbait. It's just a good way to fish slow when it starts getting colder, because you can pop it and you pause it, and the fish start slowing down too, and it has a little bit of a tighter erratic movement and stuff. And when you're doing those pauses, sometimes you pause it for real long periods of time to get their attention. Jerkbaits are not something that works on real dirty water, so that's another thing. Like if you're fishing top water, they can see that silhouette and they kind of hear, top water's a little bit more noisy and all that other junk. So it depends on the water that you're fishing too. But jerkbait, I mean, there's a couple of go-to baits for the fall when it starts to get colder and stuff. A jerkbait, a spinner bait, top water.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, I think that's what you're saying is, I mean, first of all, what you're saying is there's almost no dead sure way to catch fish in the fall. I mean, but the top water thing makes a ton of sense when you're like, well, the fish usually still are just hanging in the weeds, so throw something on top of it and they'll pop out. The funny thing is outdoor news. So I looked in, because again I have to research this. Outdoor news is it's a weekly newspaper almost up here, right? It's like a newspaper style magazine sort of thing.
It's like a magazine, but it comes to you in like a newspaper. You unfold it like a newspaper. I don't know if it's weekly.
Well, let's just say what I found was weekly. It may not be the fishing, because they do a lot of different things, but they're big in this area. They're from Minnesota in the west to New York in the east, where it's this upper part, and they do everything from hunting and stuff like that. So it's not like I just got this from they shouldn't be hiring some just like shithead.
Right.
But the funny thing is what they said was, obviously find the weed edge, which you already said. But the lures, you know what they said? Cranks. This one you're going to have to explain. Wacky hooked plastic, jigs, and Texas rigs. Those are what I saw on outdoor news. What do you say about those?
Well, so like a football head.
Is this the wacky hook or whatever?
So a wacky hook is like a worm, and you hook it directly in the center. Oh. So when you pull it, I mean, it almost kind of like swims like an octopus. Like you kind of jig it like you would jig any other like weightless bait, or not necessarily weightless. They have weighted wacky jigs and stuff, but you put it right in the middle, and there are certain soft plastics. Oh, excuse me. The beer.
The bears.
Oh, you're cracking one, and I'll crack the next one too. We might as well use that burp break to do one of those. The wacky rig, you're just hooking it right in the middle. For a while there, people were just buying whatever bait they thought would work well. Just grabbing a fluke, or I think a Senko was probably a pretty popular one with the wacky rig, because it's kind of the same size but now they make ones that are specifically made for wacky rig, where there's like a spot that works well to hook it directly in the center. And you just kind of pull it like that, because some of them were like weighted more to one side than the other, and then when you're pulling it, it's kind of like rotating as you're jigging it, instead of it just swimming it like an octopus. It's like spinning while it's getting jigged, and which might be an action that works, but the line twist can cause issues and all this other stuff. But yeah, so you got the wacky rig, the jigs, a skirted jig with a trailer. Probably a crawfish would work well this time of year.
Yeah, actually, that's what Berkeley really had down.
Yeah.
They said that they were eating, and I saw a guy, man, I can't remember now who it was, but I saw a guy on the Elite Series. He was throwing crawfish, crayfish, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
And he got all his limbs ripped off, and he's like, nah, I got to change it. You got to this is what gets him, that movement. What, is that what it is? Is it the movement right now? Because you were saying, like, I don't know. What is it
Well,
about the crayfish?
no, so it's not the movement. I mean, as far as like the bait goes, if you don't have the limbs on there, like that's for sure what gets them going. Like one of my favorites is the Strike King Rage Tail Craw, and the claws are kind of like scooped on each side. So when they
Nice.
fall, they wave back and forth and they move a lot of water. So if you get those craws ripped off, it's basically like pointless. Like the action is gone out of it. So
You're missing like everything that is that agitation that gets the bass going. I'm guessing bass are
yeah, I mean,
sensitive to
yeah,
that.
it's like just the movement is a big part of it. Like visually, you can see the thing moving. When it displaces water, bass have a lateral line where they have a sixth sense. You know, like we have the five senses. They can actually feel the water movement and stuff. That's why they can track down baits in real dingy, shitty water.
Mm.
But so when they're feeling that vibration and stuff in the water, that's huge. When the claws aren't there and it's just this thing bouncing around, like they might still eat it, but your odds are a lot worse. Plus crawfish mate or spawn. I don't know if you call it spawn.
Oh yeah, I
And
haven't done my
crawfish,
research on
they
crayfish
mate
yet.
they mate twice a year
Oh,
in the spring and the fall. So the crawfish work really well in the spring and the fall.
okay.
It's a big reason why, like, I don't know. I think it's kind of the same in both, but it's like a cold water situation where when they're using lipless crankbaits,
Okay.
that they'll use like the red color because that's what a crawfish looks like.
That's what it actually looks like. Like
Yeah.
crawfish. I mean, they're not always actually red, but like
No, but there's like, I don't know enough about it.
okay.
They molt too, and
Yeah.
then they kind of like change colors a little bit. And I think when they mate, they become brighter red. I think there's different species.
Oh,
So
sure.
like if you look through the different baits at what
There's different species of crayfish. Is that what you're?
yeah, there's a bunch of different species, and if you look at the different baits and stuff, the different soft plastics and stuff, they're literally like there's Bama craw and
Oh, like
so
Alabama
there's,
crawfish
right,
and like Mississippi
yeah,
crawfish. Probably like up here, even you'd probably find a
and
Mississippi
some of
River
them
crawfish.
yeah, and some of them are even labeled like summer craw, like
Oh.
because they're not fucking right now, so they're this color. And, I mean, they don't fuck anyways. If you want to
Right.
look into it, it's weird. Like the male like jizzes on the on the female, and then she takes it back to her lair and goes and has her babies in the mud. Like it's a real creepy.
You've done
stuff.
way more research on, because also you said they're red, and I'm like, yeah, they're just naturally red. That's because I eat crayfish, and
Yeah,
that's
they're
my
red when they're
best
cooked.
encounter of.
Yeah, when they're red when they're cooked. That's just like all the crustaceans, the shrimp, the
Yep.
crab,
Lobster, yep. They
when
just
they're
turn red.
cooked, they're bright red.
And so yeah, you say they're red, and I just go, yeah,
Yep,
they're
yeah,
totally
red.
red.
They're totally red. Yeah,
Yeah, I've eaten a bucket of them before. Like,
yeah. What? You trying to act like I've never been to Red Lobster, bro? I know they're red. Duh. That's why it's called Red Lobster.
duh. So
Hold on.
oh, okay.
Before I
forget.
lose it quick too, I
Yeah.
wanted to go back to like because you said crankbaits and I said no before, but that's a side note so people aren't confused.
Yeah, because
Lipless-
actually that Cranks was on there from Outdoor News.
Yeah, lipless crankbaits are different, and
Mm.
I mean like flat-sided crankbaits too. It depends on the crankbait because what you're looking for is a tighter wiggle when the water gets cold. When the water's warm, a wider wobble. It's how the fish move. When the water's warm, they tend to stride more, like big wobble, whoop, 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 whoop. But when it's cold, it's tighter movements, like real fast. And a lipless crankbait is just like if you ever fish a lipless crankbait, and you are just reel it in straight, you'll feel that. Like that noise that I just made might not make sense to you, but if you reel it in, you're just gonna be like, oh, I get it.
You feel that noise.
You
Yeah.
feel that
No,
noise.
I know what you mean there for sure. Is like there is something to the way the what am I trying to say here? Oh, okay, I got it. There's something to the way the bait or lure there's something in the way the lure feels in the water that just translates into sound to me. It's just like something because it's creating waves and sound waves, and I have the same association where I really associate sound with it. Like when I'm trying to jig as best
Yep.
like that's what plays in my head. Like that's how I know I'm doing it right, if I feel that sound in my brain while I'm fishing.
Yeah, dude.
It's
that
so
totally
weird.
makes sense. I attribute a lot of stuff to sound. Like we were literally before the show, we each had a little bit of brandy, and I was describing the way the brandy went down with like noises.
Yep.
It was like shooping.
I actually do that at work, and people go like, "Oh, so that was like," and I was like, "Yeah." Oh, that's weird to you. I didn't realize that.
That's weird to you. Yeah, I catch myself doing that a lot too, where I'll say something and I'll make a noise, and then people go, "How did that go?" And then I mimic it like exactly like I said it the first time. I'd just be like, it's like, and people are like, what? How did that go? And I'll be like, and they'll just be like, oh, really? That's how it goes. And just be like, yeah, I mean, to me, I guess.
Yeah, no.
Like, I
get it.
How do you think about it?
Exactly.
That's how I think about it.
So to get back to the fishing, one of the tips I saw was keep your finger on the line as you're reeling it in, like because fish tend to hit so light in the fall. Yeah, have you ever heard that one or done that one before? Because that was the one that stuck out to me, because as I was watching Bassmaster Elite Series this week, there were a few times where they actually, like, these pros were just ripping it out of the water. And they're heads up, kind of like tell their cameraman, look out, hey, there's something coming your way. And then they would just always say like they're hitting so light. Was that just the lake they were on, or is that a fall thing that bass do? I mean, as they slow down or whatever.
Yeah, it's a fall thing. Like when they slow down, like they just not as apt to like swim at it fast and just inhale it. Like when they're swimming fast and they suck it in, like that picks up all the slack, and you just feel that tunk. There's that noise again. Tunk. You just feel it. And when you're fishing in the fall and they just come up and they just slightly just kind of I like picture it as them not even like really sucking in, just almost kind of just opening their mouth and then eating it. Like when they in the summer, they legit just suck that thing in, but I just almost picture them eating it like we eat something, where it's just kind of floating, and they just open their mouth and put it in their mouth, and then you don't really feel it as much. But yeah, it's definitely a thing, and it's not just necessarily when it's fall. You'll see it in the summertime after a cold front and stuff too, but when it gets cold, it's definitely a lot more prevalent because the fish move slower. When the water gets colder, they move slower. It's just how it goes. As far as putting your finger on the line, like that only works with certain techniques. You can't do it with everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why is that? Or like, what do you mean?
Just how you're fishing it.
Okay.
Like, I mean, if you had a bait caster and you're kind of like ripping a lipless crankbait, like some people, you can throw it out and reel it straight in. You can kind of yo-yo it in like you're almost jigging it, like just popping it off the bottom and stuff. You rip it up and let it flutter and stuff back down, and just how you're fishing it, you can't really. I mean, suppose you could try to put your finger on the line some weird way, but the way I hold it, there's really no. I mean, I suppose I could put my thumb in the middle, but I feel like I tend to like try to watch the line more than actually put my finger on the line. But I mean, it just depends on the technique. I can't really think of any specifics. I think it's a lot easier when you're using spinning reels and spinning setups.
Because of the way it's like underneath the rod, like your fingers are kind of naturally on the line anyway.
Right there, yeah. And if you kind of like when you bring the when the bail comes around, whatever the like actual thing is that brings the line onto your reel, that's on the bail. I don't know the exact term for it, but that you can reel around so the line's like right by your finger.
Right.
So that way when you're like kind of popping it, you can just, thumb on the top, 3 fingers on the bottom, and your pointer's like touching the line.
Yeah.
You could jig it like that pretty easy.
Yeah.
So it's just all I guess when you're.
It's all about the technique,
You're probably using a spinning reel if you're fishing super slow anyways.
Yeah, which is something everyone, well, I shouldn't say everyone said that, like, because I looked at Berkeley and I looked at this, and I looked at Outdoor News, and if you don't know what Berkeley is, then I don't know how you found a fishing podcast. But there was a lot of talk about the speed, and that's kind of what you're saying is like, you're saying fish slow, and that is a lot of it, but it's also like both places, and even watching fishing, they're like it's not necessarily about fishing slow. You sort of said it earlier too, but it's about finding the speed, like adjusting your speed, or like finding a speed, just trying different speeds. So
well, I mean, like this is gonna sound weird. The fish aren't smart, but they're not stupid either. Like they understand how much energy it takes, how much energy they have to use to catch something. And when they're not feeling like moving very fast, and they know that food isn't super abundant and stuff, when they see you burning a crankbait past them, they're just going to be like, fuck, I'm not chasing that thing.
They look at that as, no way, man.
Just like, are you kidding me? I'm not
that thing's moving.
Going after that. I'm like, I'll wait for the next thing that comes floating by that's not moving too fast. I mean, the bass are pretty opportunistic feeders. If something's fluttering slowly in front of them, they're just going to be like, yeah, that's an easy meal right there. I'll take that.
Right.
Instead of that thing that you're just burning cross. But sometimes in the summer, it's a little bit different. It's hot. They're hyped.
Right. There's more energy. There's more food moving around and stuff like that. That actually was something that came up in all this.
There's a lot more food in the summer, too. Yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, especially in the winter here. Like, when it gets real cold and the water freezes, like...
Everything dies, basically.
You don't have... well, not everything dies, but you don't have new stuff entering the water.
Right.
You don't have, like, bugs hatching and, you know...
No, the plants aren't putting any oxygen into it to like get things moving around, and like there's limited very limited resources when things start to get cold up here.
Yep.
And well, that's actually something that I noticed is like, and thought about while you were talking about the crayfish, is like those got to be high calorie in comparison to like other things, don't you think?
Probably.
Yeah. So I mean, again, the bass aren't smart, but they ain't stupid. And I just wonder if there's something in the instinct that's just like, I'm going to eat that crayfish. That thing's full of calories. Definitely. Look at that thing moving.
Well, when they're mating, too, like, they're just easier to pick off.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. They're kind of in the rocks and not doing much. Like, during the summer months and stuff, they got to eat, too. But when they're mating, they're, like, actively searching for mates, so they're not just sitting in one spot doing nothing. They're trying to find each other.
They're out and about, moving around, easier to see.
Yep.
Like even I don't hunt, but I watch enough hunting that's like a male, deer, elk, whatever. When they're in rut, dude, they're just fucking boneheads.
Dude, that's what I heard. I'm not a big hunter, but I've heard some.
But that's what I'm wondering about the crayfish too. Is like, are they just boneheaded too?
Like, deers in the ruts are so like some of them are so sex crazed that they just like walk up to hunters.
Are
Like
you
just
serious?
yeah, just like walk straight up to them like, hey, you guys seen any pussy?
Oh my god.
Just,
Oh, I'm not gonna end on that note because we're coming up on our half hour for the fishing topic, and we're gonna go into the random take after that. But I gotta ask, what are you fishing in the fall? Like rod, reel. I mean, we sort of went over lures and stuff, but like, is there any kind of
yeah.
special rod reels that you fish that
I
you
like.
recommend fishing? I guess, and also, of course, everybody, we're from Minnesota. That's where we're fishing the majority of the time. Man, oh man, would it be awesome to go south and slam on
Oh,
some
dude,
huge bass? But right
get
now,
some biggins.
this is Minnesota advice experience, I guess.
And I mean, it works across where you're at. It's just, you know, you might have to change some of the sizes and stuff. But I
Mm-hmm. Sure.
like, um, I mean, pretty much year round. I love fishing like a weightless, um, like a fluke or like a jerk shad, depending on what company you're buying them from. So basically, like a soft plastic that looks kind of like a minnow. Um, and I'm fishing that on spinning setup. Um, Normally, like a, I think the rod I have that I use it on a lot is a medium light. Like
Is that its flexibility? Is the medium light part that you say? Is that the rod's like flexibility, or was that me?
yeah. So the medium light is like the power. So there's you know, like ultralight, light, medium light, medium,
Mm-hmm.
medium heavy, heavy. It's just kind of like the rod stiffness.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then when you start getting into the higher quality stuff, then you start talking about the tip too. So you're like I prefer like a fast medium light where the tip it it's where it flexes. Like if you had a medium and you bent it at the tip towards the handle, it'd be like a real sloping arch. It'd
Like a
be it
gradual, like
it
almost like a half circle.
yeah, like it'd bend kind of gradually the same the whole way. It'd like start from the base to the tip. It'd kind of bend over like a rainbow the whole way the same.
Mm-hmm.
But like a medium with a fast tip, it would start to bend like
Like the rainbow, like it would start
well
like a
no, it
rainbow.
would bend a lot more at the tip.
Yeah.
Like the tip would like the first foot and a half, 2 feet would have a lot more flexibility than the rest of it.
Okay.
So like extra fast is like just the tip is super soft. Fast is like the you
First
start getting it
first
a little
foot
bit
or
of a
something like
medium
that.
is like the whole thing, and then there's really nothing under a medium. It's just like the rod is just like, oh, it's ultralight or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would be throwing something like a fast action medium light, just because I think you can make the fluke wiggle better, and
Mm-hmm.
that's just one of my go-tos. I love fishing that
Is it more
all year.
sensitive for, say, we pretty much said like the bass aren't striking as hard. So is it more sensitive? Is your setup that you're talking about? Is it more sensitive to feel
the
those lighter bites?
the lighter the lighter setups are definitely more sensitive. Like when you're looking at an ultralight, I mean, you're fishing for panfish. You can feel panfish on how light that is because the rod will flex easier. So when something hits it, it'll
Like the
transfer the energy better to like the reel
mm-hmm.
where your hand is. You'll feel it more the lighter the action is.
Right.
Like the other thing I use this time of year, and again a lot of times during the year, is a jig, like a skirted jig with the crayfish on it, or well, there's so many different kind of jig trailers that you can put on there. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of them like don't exist. They're just made up, whatever, have flanges on them and stuff, just creature baits. But um, that I'm throwing on. I have like a 7'6" medium heavy rod.
7'6". That's how long the rod is, right?
Yep,
Jesus, that's huge.
7'6".
That's
Yep.
huge to me. I mean,
It's pretty big. I don't know. I think some people like use like 7'10" and stuff. And
my God.
yeah, I don't know if they use that for. I mean, 7'6" is what I have.
Yeah.
I'd probably know a little bit more about the rods and like the sizes if I had more money to be able to go out there and just be like, this is what I want to use for this, and this is what I want to use for this. I'm kind of like, well, this rod I'm going to use for this, and I could get away with using it for this because I don't have money to drop, $110.
Yeah,
for
another
every
100.
different way of fishing.
Right.
I would if I had it,
Right.
but I don't. So, but
that's how it is.
yeah, the jig fishing like that medium heavy when I'm jigging, that one's a lot less sensitive, but because it's a bigger bait too, you kind of feel it a little bit more. And that one I'm constantly working a little bit more, and you're feeling the line movement and stuff. And
is this what you're talking? Is the setup? Well, hold on, we haven't got to the reel yet. I'm getting ahead of it. Did you say the reel already? Did I miss that? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like the fluke I like to do on the spinning setup. I just prefer fishing like that, having the reel underneath. I think it's, for me, I like it more when I'm moving my wrist, having the reel underneath. Like, it just feels more natural. My wrist lays better than having it up there. But I do fish a jerk bait, like a hard jerk bait, like a Rapala Shadow Rap or the Strike King, the KVD one that they make. I don't know what it's called. Just KVD jerk bait.
You're like, dude, it has KVD on it.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It was just buy the Strike King Kevin Van Dam jerk bait. That's the one. Get it. But that I'll fish with, like the bait caster, because that one is less my wrist and more my whole arm.
Oh,
so,
like the movement of it is, like it's less snappy and more like your whole. Because the wrist, I'm guessing you're just like pop, 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 pop.
Yeah, I mean it's still snappy, but it's a lot easier to move the weightless fluke. It doesn't take as much effort. You can just kind of pop it a little bit and it moves.
Yeah.
But the jerk bait, you have to give it a little bit more. Pop, pop. It's.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So yeah, and then I mean, for the most part, the spinning reels are all pretty close in gear ratio. There's not a whole lot of stuff that differs there. But if I had my way, again, I would have a higher gear ratio for jig fishing. So when I did feel that bite, I could pick up the slack to set the hook.
That's just general speak, or would that be just for fall, just because of the way?
Just general speak.
Okay.
Yeah, if I was jig fishing, I would want something higher gear ratio, just so when I did feel the bite, I could pick that slack up and set the hook.
Right. Yeah. So you're switching for the fall, like you definitely switch for seasons. I mean.
I switch tactics, but I don't really switch. It's pretty much the same gear I'm using in the spring and the fall and the summer. It's. Yeah.
But the tactics, that's the big thing, is like the...
Yeah, like I don't fish a jerk bait too much in the summertime. They work, but I don't, it's not my go-to.
Oh.
I fish the super, or like the weightless, but that's on like days after fronts.
Oh.
On no wind, no clouds, just calm, clear day.
Right.
Like I'll fish that fluke, because that doesn't work super well when it's windy. They're a little bit more aggressive and stuff when it's hot. So that's...
Don't get too far into it. We'll have to save that one for another podcast. That's for damn sure. So, we've been going a while on this one, which, why not? We should. We're a fucking fishing podcast. What do you think of that beer?
I was like, yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's kind of light and whatever, and it has that... Yeah, now the hoppy taste almost... feels like chemicals.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll finish that beer in the second half. Random take cooking in the fall / October. Want to preface this. It's not Thanksgiving. but it gets cold up here. Things change. We eat differently.
Yep.
We're going to go into it. All right, hit the auto tune, Tim.
You're listening to the Really TV podcast.
And we're back to the Real AF TV podcast, the fishing about podcasting and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes.
Fishing about.
Oh my God, you would have thought after this many times I would have figured it out.
Well,
That's how it goes.
You get a couple of those lattes in you, and all of a sudden, to think I thought I was drinking and then things are all this is fishing.
All right, well, this is the podcast about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes, and we are in the random take section. Tim, I want to talk about cooking in October because the way I cook in October changes a lot, and I do want to make sure we avoid Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving is a whole different topic.
This is October.
We got to try our best to avoid Thanksgiving talk, but...
Yeah, because we'll probably talk about that next month.
Probably. I already have that planned, definitely. No Thanksgiving.
Be quiet, guys. Don't let the cat out the bag.
But, no, seriously, though, we like to cook. Is that an accurate statement?
That
would you back me up?
Accurate statement. Can I tell you a fun fact? Because I just learned this from my niece, who was telling me about it because I just said let the cat out the bag.
How old is your niece?
She is old enough to party.
That is the correct answer.
Oh, hey, another side note. My son, we were putting up the happy birthday, or not happy birthday, we were putting up happy Halloween like thing on the wall, and he comes in and he just sees the happy going up, like the banner going up.
Oh no.
He turns and he looks at the wall and he just goes, "Is it party time?"
No.
I'm just like, yeah, buddy. Yeah, that's exactly dude. What this means.
It is party time.
It's party time, bud.
Oh my God, that's so awesome.
And for those of you that don't know, my son's just over 2.5 years old. So, is that party? Is it party time? Yeah, dude, totally. It is party time.
That's why I asked the age, because I figured where the story was going with your nieces that it was going to be an age thing, like cat out of the bag thing.
Right. No, she was telling me about it. Back in the day, like you would go, I don't know, I think it was like a carnival or like wherever, I can't remember where it was, but they would sell pigs in a bag. Like you would get like a little suckling, like a little tiny thing, and they used to also like another word for a bag was a poke, and they would you get a pig in a poke. And then yeah, and then so they would go and they would buy these pigs in the bag, and sometimes you'd have shithead, like whatever these guys were, like pig in a bag dealers, and sometimes they would give you a cat in your bag instead of a pig, and then you'd go home and you open it up, and then you let the cat out the bag.
What the
because like
hell?
I guess when you opened it up, then you couldn't bring it back. And it was like, nope, nah, you can't.
Nope.
We have a strict return policy. You can't let the cat out the bag, bud. It's not coming back here.
See, that's such a little kid thing to know. That's the most fucking weird.
Dude, it's such a weird thing. I can't. The rest of that night, I couldn't stop myself from doing that, like old time newspaper guy on the corner, just like, hey, picking a bag here. Get your pick in a bag here. Picking a poke. You looking for a pick in a poke? I got a pick in a bag. It is a pig in a poke, maybe a bag. Well, I don't know how you want to say it, but it's definitely not a cat.
I can tell you one thing for sure. It's not a cat. Okay. Oh, but no, let's okay. Cooking. I mean, Actually, I would cook a pig. I might cook a pig. I'm getting off topic.
Let's cook
Trying to get back to topic. Here we go. But seriously though, we like to cook. Like every time we hang out, we cook.
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty much like a thing.
Well, your wife did.
Tonight, I know.
Yes.
Tonight that was a different situation.
Your lovely pregnant wife made us supper while we went and fished.
I know.
But, you know,
it was the best.
It was awesome.
But usually when we hang out, like we cook. You, your wife, my wife, we all get in the kitchen. We prep. We cook. We basically make a menu. We go shopping, hit the liquor store. We come back, fucking make a bourbon and start cooking.
Yeah.
Is that? I mean, I'm not just making this up. Back me up. Come on.
No, that's yep. That's how we do it.
Yeah. So we like to cook. So I since we like to cook so much, and it's like sort of a thing that we do when we all get together. I wanted to talk about October cooking specifically and how it changes because what we do is we get into goulashes and chilies and goulashes and chilies and soups and stuff like that. You know, you start getting in those thicker, warmer stuff because up north here it starts to get cold. Stews.
Yep.
Yeah. I just realized though, is like goulash like a northern thing? Hey, anybody outside of Minnesota who's listening to this doesn't know what from Minnesota is. What's goulash?
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, 100%.
Let us
I
know.
can't even tell you what goulash is. Like I don't know if I make.
You don't know goulash?
I don't think I made it. Like I mean,
What?
I know what it is.
You know what it is?
Like I mean, like I've had it.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever made it.
Okay.
So when you tell me like, this is a goulash, I'd just be like, I don't know. Okay. Is it?
Or hot dish.
Or somebody be like, this is a stew, or you know, just be like, what's the difference between a stew and a soup?
Thickness.
They'd just be like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure this is a goulash. I don't know.
Wait, I thought you just called it a stew.
I don't know.
No, it's a goulash. No. Okay, that's funny because I have goulash. Like goulash to me is noodles and leftovers, which is not what we make it out of.
Hot dish.
Yes,
That's Minnesotan,
but it's
sure.
a noodle hot dish, and then
Yeah.
hot dish is always like potatoes. Some form of potato to me is a hot dish.
See, so I just don't know the terminology because that's all just hot dish. I put noodles like.
Yeah.
It's like one of the things like I do a lot of the cooking. Like one of the only thing my wife makes is hot dish. Like where it's getting the fall and we don't know what to make. She's like, I'm just going through the cupboard. She's good at that. Like I'm going through the cupboard. I'm about to make a hot dish out of what I can find.
Yeah.
And we come home and there's like green beans and corn and egg noodles with some cream of mushroom soup and some hamburger, and you're just like, a lot of random stuff. This works. Is nice.
Fuck yeah.
You just be like, what's that tang? Oh, I'll put some sour cream in it for flavor. You just, all right, it's a hot dish.
Hell yeah.
And for those of you down south, or I don't know if it's just the Midwest that does this, but we're talking about casseroles. You weirdos.
Oh, yeah,
it's hot dishes.
I forgot about the word casserole entirely, dude.
Yeah, that's what they call it every place else.
Oh my god.
We call it a hot dish.
It's like the pop thing too.
Yeah.
Nobody gets that.
Well, you know, we're just gonna have a little bit of this hot dish with a little bit of pop, and you know, wash it down with a brewski later. You know, it's one of those Minnesotan things that we deal with the hot dish and the pop.
And the pop.
Pop.
But do you guys? But seriously, do you get into like the thick? Does it change because like in the summertime it's a lot of grilling, a lot of meat, a lot of bread, a lot of fruit, and things like that.
Yeah.
What I think of like grilling food, right? Like from June until August, September, I think of like hot dogs on the grill, burgers on the grill, stuff like that. And then all of a sudden we hit October and like chili in a pot for 4 hours. Like, let's fucking go.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it used to be that way for me a lot when I was younger. Like, I was always having chili on Halloween. Like, that used to be just like a chili.
There's a tradition for you guys?
Chili and butter on saltines.
Oh my god, the best way to fucking eat chili, dude.
So good. It's
oh my
like,
god.
I know that's just like, that's a fat shit move. Well, whatever. suck a fucking fart, bro.
Dude.
So I'm done. That's a fat shit move that I'm making. I'm taking that chili and I'm scooping it up with some saltines and put a little bit of butter on that, and I'm eating it like it's a dip.
Yeah.
Because it basically is when it's thick.
It is.
You got the beans and the hamburger and stuff in there.
Oh my god.
But my wife's kind of a picky eater. She's not into any beans really, so we don't do chili. Or grilled cheese and tomato soup.
Yeah.
That's bomb.
That starts coming out in the fall more for you guys?
That's fall. Well, grilled cheese is all year round, but
right,
we
right,
start
right.
mixing it up with the tomato soup again.
Mm-hmm.
She's not into tomato soup, but she likes grilled cheese. She's a real comfort food type girl.
Mm-hmm.
She wants.
That's what the fall's about, though.
Stuff.
That's what I'm kind of getting at, actually. Is I think the fall time is when the comfort food comes rip roaring out. Again, it gets cold here. We eat different, man.
And I'll say too, like I do a lot more stuff. It's just how you cook too. So it turns out what you're cooking becomes different. Like how you were talking about like hot dogs, hamburgers and stuff on the grill. Like I start making, like pork loins and roasts and stuff in the oven, and that's what I'm doing is like I'm cooking stuff in the oven because I'm not trying to turn the oven on when it's 95 and humid outside because it's hot enough outside and my AC's already working hard. I'm not trying to turn the stove on, and now it's cold outside, so you're just like, I'm turning the stove on because it's cold in here.
So then the furnace don't have to work so hard.
It's a double whammy, bro.
Yeah,
like
dude,
killing
for
two
real.
birds.
Isn't that funny? This is perfect. That's exactly what I'm getting at. Is just like those things do. I mean, I don't know. Like, I grew up eating this way too, but like we've transformed kind of everything as what mom used to make, so to say, right? Like we take whatever mom's made and we make it different. We tune it up. Like mom used to throw like Hormel chili with ketchup and mustard in a pot and then pour it on top of tater tots. I'm making that up.
Oh.
But I'm just saying, like, that was
on top of tater tots sounds soggy. You gotta put the tater tots on top of that.
Right. There it is. See, that's a trick. But that was like mom's hot dish, and now it's like get the ground beef, get the beans, put it in a pot for 4 hours. Like let it cook in the fucking what are the crock pot? Sure. Dutch oven. That's exactly. You got it. Yep. Yeah, in the Dutch oven. You gotta get a Dutch oven.
Dutch oven, bud.
Dude.
They keep the heat right.
Explain the Dutch oven. Just like, what is a Dutch oven? I got a ceramic one, by the way. It's ceramic on the outside and in. It's ceramic coated. I'm not necessarily proud of that, but that's the version we went with.
But is it cast iron otherwise?
You got it.
Yeah, that's all you really need. It's that cast iron. The thickness of the cast iron, like, just keeps the heat right. So when you got the heat going, like, it just holds the heat throughout, and they're heavy as shit, dude.
They are. It's a big cast iron pot with a big cast iron lid. I mean, that's what a Dutch oven is.
Yeah. Yep.
They are key.
Yep. And that lid, like when you're talking about making chili and stuff and you're cooking it for like 4 hours, that cast iron lid too keeps the lid on. Like, you can have some of that pressure try to push the lid off of some of those weak tin pans and shit, aluminum, whatever they're made out of.
Yeah, you can make rice and it bubbles up inside the pot, and you can watch that shitty get lifted off by the rice bubbles.
Yep, but that Dutch oven, that thing is not going anywhere.
No.
Nope.
Things are just solid.
Yep. And you just let Dutch oven is just there to like let things simmer. That's why they call when you're in bed with your wife and you fart and pull the sheets up over her head. That's the Dutch oven. you just let her simmer in it, bro.
Exactly. Put the lid on, let her simmer.
Put the lid on it, let her simmer.
Oh my god. So, do you guys deep fry at all? Because our deep fryer goes up in the fall.
I don't have a deep fryer, but I have, if I really want to, I have a fondue pot that doubles as a fryer.
Really? Oh, because you just get it hot enough, like you put oil in it? Because I know there's a such thing as like fondue with cheese, but then you fondue with like other things that go into oil, which is essentially deep frying?
Yeah, right. You can like if it's small stuff, you can do fondue where you deep fry it real quick. But you can deep fry in the fondue pot. I mean, it's just basically like any other pot.
Mm-hmm.
You just, you know, or like, any other pot, or like more like an electric frying pan. Like, it just keeps the heat. Like, you turn the heat on and it keeps the heat at a certain amount, and you put the oil in there and you heat it up. And then I use like a little digital thermometer to let me know how hot the oil is.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get a deep fryer. We have my parents have a deep fryer at the cabin, so we deep fry a lot of fish and stuff in the summer.
Oh, right.
But then
you don't deep fry as much in the fall because your cabin is seasonal. You don't go up there
my
really,
wife
right?
doesn't like to eat fish either, so
Right.
when I do cook fish, it's just for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just pan fry it. I'll just put a little bit of oil in the pan and then just cook it on one side and flip it on the other. Turns out about the same as deep frying.
Right.
But I have to use far less oil because I don't really have.
Because you literally have to deep fry. I mean,
We have an
deep
air
frying
fryer
literally
too now,
means.
though. So.
Oh shit! Sure.
Yeah. So we air fry a lot of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, that thing's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It works real well. Like, I made fried pork chops a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
Yeah, and you just pan fry that, and then I bought a big pork loin, and then like cut it down myself because that's basically all boneless pork chops are.
Yeah.
It's just pork loin that's cut up. So I cut half of it up, and we ate that for whatever we did with that one. And then down the road, like, it was getting close to like, well, we either have to freeze this or use it. And I'm just like, I'm just going to cook all of it tonight. And then I got like another, 4 days in the fridge.
Right.
With the parts that I already cooked.
Right.
And then I just left those leftover pieces and then reheated them in the air fryer. And the texture was all crispy and stuff on the outside, just like after I fried it. It turned out real nice.
Dude.
And I double batter them now. Oh, it works good. Like, not double batter them, but you dredge it in the flour first, then egg wash it, and then dredge it again.
That's the key.
Oh, it's got such a good crisp on it.
Oh my god, dude, that's the fucking key. I just never thought to do it with pork, but now I'm definitely gonna do that.
Fried pork chops are dope. I think it'd probably turn out better too. I haven't done it a whole lot with the boneless stuff. That's been a little bit new. The bone in gives it a little bit more flavor with the bone in there.
Right.
But I think, either marinate it or brine it before.
Sure.
I think that would give the meat a little bit more flavor.
Yeah. It kind of light it up before you even go in.
The breading's really good right now, but I need to work on. I'm still perfecting the recipe.
Oh shit! Did your computer freeze? Did the computer freeze? Oh no.
No, those levels go weird. Yeah, that thing just stops moving.
I think it's just running out of memory. It's not running out of memory. It's still recording. We're good. Okay. Anyways, so you said that you had a fondue pot, and that you deep fry in. Did Dutch oven? Have you ever deep fried in the Dutch oven? That's what we used to do before we got our deep fryer.
Yep, I deep fried in the Dutch oven.
Yeah, that's legit. Like, you can do that.
Yeah.
With the thermometer. You need the thermometer though.
Yeah, I need to get a new Dutch oven though. Because, full disclosure, I had the Dutch oven sitting next to the sink for a little while. And, like, I thought because it was just oil, it would be fine. And, like, one fruit fly apparently got in there.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, a week later, I opened it up. And the fruit fly did its business with another fruit fly.
No.
And it was gross in there. And I was like, I'm not cleaning this. I just threw the whole thing away. So I don't have a Dutch oven currently.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, it was gross. I honestly, like, when up at the cabin, like, that oil, you put the lid on the deep fryer and it's fine for, like, you'll put it underneath in the cupboard for a week. And you come back the next week and you take the lid off and you can fry fish again. And then you just repeat over and over and over.
Yeah.
And then something about that Dutch oven, one time there must have been a piece of food still in there or something. And
it got fucking gross, huh?
It got gross.
So bad, dude. You threw it away.
Well, I mean, I don't even really want to get into it, but you know what happens when flies mate, and
Oh
there you go.
God, don't know. I don't want to talk about it because that'll make me shiver and grow. Nope, nope, nope. So we're gonna go. We're gonna go back to the air fryer because it's football brings football season in the United States. Brings the wings and beer
Yep.
come out during football season. Is that is that accurate in your place? Because
Yeah.
So over here we don't watch football. It's not a big thing for us. But like when we hang out, watch football, wings, and beer. Fuck yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
dude.
I'm all in like with friends. But like for us, just if me and the wife are hanging out on a Sunday, no, we don't really give a shit. I'll put on I'll put on football to fold laundry Sunday afternoon, so that way I don't pay attention.
Yeah.
And because football is easy to do that. So you don't deep fry that much, but did the wings come out on Sunday? Because that's the thing that changes over here is like we do actually start making more wings because it's like in the ether, right? Like it's just out there.
Yeah.
So we do actually start cooking more wings in October. It's true. It just happens. Like chicken wings go on sale, we go get them. Who gives a shit? Because they're on sale. It's cheap. It's cheaper now. We love wings. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, in our household, not as much. Like I like wings a lot. But my wife likes the barbecue wings, so I suppose we could make more of those. But
I love barbecue wings.
I like buffalo wings, and I like all sorts of wings. Man, wings are awesome.
I agree.
Who doesn't like wings? It doesn't need to be football. You just wings are good. But no, tradition in my family is we eat pizza on Sundays when the game is going on, and I like to make my own pizza. And a couple of weeks ago, for the Vikings opener, I made the pizza from scratch. Like
hell yeah, the dough and everything, right?
Made the dough, browned up the sausage, grated the cheese. I even made the sauce.
Fuck
made
yeah.
the sauce from scratch.
Yeah, we just did the same thing that you're saying.
Completely made the pizza from scratch that time. And
hell yeah.
Yeah, it turned out pretty good. I liked it. I was... I can't say that I was over like, this is the way it will be forever. I made that pizza and I was like, that was good. I don't know if it was good enough for all the effort where I could have just bought a pizza that was already ready to go. But I enjoyed the experience of making it, and I think I could get it to that point. I definitely need to get the sauce a little bit better. I thought that could have been done better.
The sauce is the hardest part for sure. We made the sauce in the Dutch oven. This is just going to be called the Dutch oven section of the podcast. We made it in the Dutch oven and just cooked her until it got thick like pizza sauce, like kind of just like let it evaporate and stuff like that. I mean, it's work for sure, but it's so good. I mean, we didn't nail it, but I think much like we were just talking about with the fall fishing, is cooking is it's an experiment, right? Like you do one thing and you try to memorize it, and you do it again, and you try to do it a little bit better, and it's that fun. It's that like play of the on at this time, off at that time. And what I mean by that is like put the food on the burner now, take it off. It's those little bits of changes, right? Like that you make in your head. You just take notes and you just keep doing it. It's the experimentation part of it. That's what it really boils down to, is the experimentation. It's fun. It's fucking fun.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Cooking is a science. It's just you experimenting. You're just like, I'm gonna do this here, I'm gonna do that there, and see if I can figure it out. Like, it took me a while to figure out how to make mac and cheese that was creamy and not grainy.
Yeah, dude.
It's not super easy, but I got it down now. My mac and cheese is on point.
Do you bust out the mac and cheese now? Or is the mac and cheese all year round
mac
thing?
and cheese is all year round. Like, it's a go-to, especially we got an Instant Pot too. I make Instant Pot mac and cheese now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not quite as good as the stuff where you take your time and stuff, but
Sure.
it's
Yep.
so easy to cook the noodles and stuff. You just put the noodles in the water, like I season the water a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and then you put the lid on and pressure cook it. And then like the
Damn.
water just kind of makes the sauce. Like I don't have to use any milk or anything. I just add cheese to that,
Holy
stir it
shit,
up.
dude.
Yeah, I throw some cream cheese in there a lot of times, but
Mm-hmm.
some cream cheese and some regular cheese, and then a lot of times the liquid doesn't seem to be quite right, so I do end up adding some milk. Like there's just not a lot. I'd rather have it less water left over, and then I could add milk later. But that it works. Now it's just a matter of figuring out exactly what cheeses I want to use.
Yeah,
I've
because
been
they in that cheese blend,
experimenting.
right, is the key.
Yep.
Yeah, we're a year-round freaking mac and cheese
Oh,
too.
surprise.
It doesn't just come out in the fall, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
and once you have your baby, dude, you're gonna be eating that mac and cheese.
Yeah, that
They
Kraft
love-
mac and cheese.
They love Nunos. They are all about those Nunos.
What is it? What is it about noodles? Have you ever made
Noodles is
pasta?
awesome.
We do tend to make a couple batches of chicken, just chicken soup. We make a couple batches of chicken noodle soup in the fall, and we make the noodles from scratch. And like I get the chicken and I break down the chicken, and I mean just chicken noodle soup and the colder weather go hand in hand. And do you ever make noodles from scratch?
I have never made noodles from scratch. I know how it's done,
Mm-hmm.
and I've watched it be done a lot, but no, I've never made it from scratch. I've always wanted to get those KitchenAid mixer attachments
Yeah.
to make the noodles and stuff,
Yeah.
but I've never made it from scratch, no. But I know how it's done.
Yeah.
I've watched quite a few fishing shows. That's true
That's the
too.
that
I have done that.
it wasn't a lie.
Also, I've watched a decent amount of SpongeBob. I've watched a lot of UFC fights. I guess it's just
Watched all 3 seasons of Letterkenny. Like,
I've watched all 3 Ninja Turtle movies, the live action ones from back in the day. I have also watched cooking shows, and they have shown me how to make pasta.
yeah,
And
it's not easy. We actually do have all of that stuff, but that's not how we make the noodles. Like we have the pasta attachment and all that shit,
oh yeah,
but it doesn't come into play in the fall because it's just like that shit is all made for just Italian noodles, like spaghetti and stuff you would just see normal.
right.
The chicken noodle shit is
Fettuccine.
different. Yeah, fettuccine. Yep, all that good stuff. The chicken noodles are different. They're almost kind of dumpling style. The big,
Right,
like big fat noodles. You just let them sit out. and-
Gnocchi.
Yeah, almost like gnocchi. Yep, but not with potatoes, because I think that's what gnocchi is, right?
I think.
I don't know. Well,
You
now
might
that
be
we're
right on that.
now that we're sufficiently hungry, I mean that was it.
Yep.
We didn't give a ton of cooking tips except for get a fucking Dutch oven. I just wanted
Yep.
I wanted to make this more of a character building part of it, as in like, you guys may not know us, but you're gonna get to know us. That's
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking teach you about me. You better learn up. I got an instant pot, and I used to have a Dutch oven before I fucked that up, and I also have an air fryer. What? Learn that. Now you know.
But but seriously though, it's been a big thing about a big part of our friendship lately as we've grown into adults and like got houses with ovens and shit.
Yeah.
And so like I just wanted to bring it up because fall is a big change for this part of the country, and it makes me cook differently. So I thought, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude.
Good times.
It works for me. I cook differently for sure.
Oh, I changed my beers too, man. I go dark beers. I fucking drink
Oh,
porter.
really?
I love porters and I love
Well, I
stouts, and
changed-
I really get into them in the
I
fall.
changed some of my beer habits a little bit when it hits the fall, but more so because of what's available.
Right.
I
Okay.
love any beer that has orange in it, really. Like I like a
Oh
Blue
yeah,
Moon.
Blue Moon, baby.
Or Shock Top's all right, but
Yeah.
I would prefer a Blue Moon.
Yeah, me too. They did it better.
Excuse me.
There, I said it.
And then and Shock Top is just like almost a production value thing. They're
Yeah,
just
for
like,
sure.
yeah, it's close to Blue Moon, but did you see the fucking orange with a mohawk, bro? Okay, that's better.
It's bitter.
But no, like I just like that. And there's Lining Kugels has their summer shandy is like a lemon, but
It's literally lemonade beer.
yeah, they have an orange shandy that's in the fall.
That's right. Oh,
And I like that orange shandy too. So
that's
I
right.
would
I gotta
drink
get
some-
after that one. I forgot
I'll
about
drink
that
some
one.
orange shandy
Yeah.
in the fall. But as far as beer goes, it's just whatever. I drink a lot of light beer for the most part, and then every once in a while I will just gravitate towards whatever. But yeah, I guess definitely in
Because
the
it's
fall.
seasonal.
In the fall, it makes more sense to get a heavy beer because when it's like 95 degrees out, you're not like.
Those
You know
heavy
what-
beers sit heavy in the
You know
fall,
what
in
I
the
go
summertime.
for is a thick, dark beer because it's
Yeah.
hot as shit. No, you want something refreshing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, man. Well, fucking good one. It was cool to be in the same room.
Yes.
I wonder how this is gonna turn out. We'll find out. Yes, this has been the Real AF TV podcast, the podcast about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes.
That was a big pause.
Yeah, man. All right. Oh, it's a good one.